How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the newly revealed Commander bracket system that they've been talking about now since about September, when the official Commander Committee was dissolved and then reformed into the Commander Advisory Panel. And we're going to talk about what they've decided to kind of come up with. Now, this is supposed to be a beta version where it's like it's not perfect, it's not final set in stone or anything, but it's an idea to help kind of engender better games, in particular for people who are not like in a regular play group. Let's put it that way. It's probably not really going to affect you if you are in a already steady play group where you know the other players, you know their tendencies and those kind of things, and that's great. For everybody else, this is meant to just kind of like, oh, random strangers come together at like MagicCon or at a game shop or something like that. You don't know them all the time. You can kind of match up and go, okay, my deck's a 2, my deck's a 3. What's yours? Oh, my deck's a 3. Great. We'll play the level 3 stuff together. Oh, mine's a 4. Well, can you play something a little different so it doesn't roll over this stuff? That kind of thing. So that's the point of the bracket system. But let's go over the system. They've got it kind of charted out, and I'll talk a little more about my thoughts on it as we go along. As you can see here, it's broke down into 5 different levels: Exhibition, Core, Upgraded, Optimized, and CEDH. So level 1 here is supposed to be for ultra casual stuff. No intent to win all the time. It's just real basic stuff. Pet decks would kind of fall under this stuff. You're not allowed to have any kind of mass land denial, so no Armageddons, no extra turn spells, so no time warps or anything like that. No 2-card infinite combos, so no Mike Trikes, no Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker with a tooth and nail entwining to get pieces to go infinite, no game changers. Now, the game changers are also part of a list of cards, and I'll go over those more here in a little bit, that are set aside as powerful cards that you don't want to see in decks in levels 1 and 2. And we'll discuss this in a little bit. And then tutoring is supposed to be sparse. So like if you have 1 copy of a random tutor effect in your deck, great, you can run it, but you're not going to run, 5, 6, 7 tutors like a competitive EDH deck would run. So that's what exhibition level is. Level 2, core bracket. The average current pre-constructed deck is what they consider this. So any kind of power level of a pre-con, that's where this deck is at. Just like with the exhibition, no mass land denial, no chaining of extra turns. So you can run an extra turn spell in there, but you're not supposed to be chaining them off of each other and copying them multiple times and all those kind of things. No 2-card infinite combo still, no game changer still, and limiting on the tutors. Level 3 is where things kind of change. This is the upgraded range. This is, you take a precon and you upgrade it to some more powerful stuff, or you take your deck from the 1 and 2 level and you upgrade it with a few changes. So like this is still no mass land denial, no chaining of extra turns like it was in tier 2. You can have late game 2-card infinite combos. Basically their definition is if it's turn 1 through 6, that's too early to have them. But if you pop off, after that with a 2-card infinite combo, that's perfectly fine. And you can have 3 cards from the game changers list. And again, we'll go over those in just a minute. But you can have 3 of those in the deck and still be considered a level 3 bracketed deck. Level 4, the optimized decks land in this. This is high power commander. This is no restrictions other than the ban list. So you can go ahead and go wild. But the difference here is if you look at level 5 CEDH, it's same thing, no restrictions other than the ban list, is you are not playing with a meta game in mind and a competitive mindset. So what you're trying to do is optimize, you're just putting together a strong deck to play against other strong decks, whereas CDH, you're reading the metagame around you in a tournament and you're trying to win as quickly as possible. You can still do that in Optimize, but you might have a monkey wrench thrown there by a deck that you just can't stop because it wasn't metagamed for like you would in CDH. Now, as mentioned in levels 1 through 3, there's a list called Game Changer cards, and they are listed here. There's 40 cards on this list currently, and they're looking to either add or take them off of this list. And you're going to see things like Draneth Magistrate, several types of tutors like Enlightened Tutor, Terra Sanctum because it creates general extra mana, Gaia's Cradle's on here because it creates extra mana, Smothering Tithe is sitting here, Cyclonic Rift, Force of Will, Rhystic Study, like a lot of the big bad boogeymen of Commander are landing on this list. Turgid God of Fright, You're also seeing a lot of the competitive EDH multicolored commanders sitting here, like Kinnan Bonder Prodigy and Winota Joiner of Forces, and then a lot of the fast colorless mana like Ancient Tomb, Chrome Mox, the big card advantage engine of the One Ring, Grim Monolith. Like, just all these things are landing on this list. Now, something to bear in mind if you were paying attention to how the descriptions of the brackets were, this is not a ban list. This is I don't know, like almost like a new age restricted list is what I would compare it to. So if you want to keep your deck at a level 1, 2, or 3, you have to adhere to what the rules are for these game changers on the list. If you want to keep it at a level 1 or 2, you cannot have any of these cards in your decks. And if you want to have a level 3 deck right down the middle, you can only have 3 of these cards on this list. Now, fortunately for me, I'm looking at this list and I really only own a few of these cards, and of the ones I own, either I don't play them at all or I only play 1 or 2 of them in any one given deck. So there's a lot of leeway here to kind of fit this in, and I do like how this is set up, but it's not perfect. And by what I mean it's not perfect is there's a lot of cards here that probably should be on the Game Changers list that just do not exist. Case in point number 1, Necropotence. This card is absolutely bonkers absurd in a 40 life format because you get to pay even more life, draw even more cards, and right now you could play this in a level 1 deck. I'm not kidding. Because it's not on the Game Changers list, you can actually play this in a tier bracket 1 deck and it'd be fine. Now, that being said, you are going to have to use your best judgment. These are not kind of like, well, all the cards here say I'm a level 1. No, you need to know your power level. You have to kind of police yourself still a little bit. As they have said in the article and in the video, there still is no way for them to create a perfect system where they can actually police everybody and make sure that everybody's not trolling each other. And, you know, you're not going to stop somebody from lying. You say, oh, my deck's a level 2, and it actually has like enough stuff in it to make it a level 4 power-wise, because they can't put every single bad actor card in this list or it would be just this enormous unwieldy mess and it's not going to be good for anything. However, I will say that the list is a little more wieldy and a little more thoughtful than the original iteration of the brackets. If you remember how they had the brackets originally introduced back in September, their idea was a 4-tiered system. And it was like, if you had any of the cards under this bracket, it automatically kicked you up to this bracket. So like you could have a deck full of just, I don't know, horses, just as an example, or something like that. That's not real powerful. And you threw a Ancient Tomb in that deck, and all of a sudden it was rated as a level 4 deck on the list, and that just didn't make a lot of sense. I like what they've done where they put like a limiting factor on the tier 3 up and be like, okay, here, you can have 3 of these cards. So if you have 3 power cards off this list, you're still going to be considered in the tier 3, and as long as you understand, you know, that's what it is, great. But if you build your deck where you can still pop off with these combos and stuff without any of this stuff that makes them go past the level 1, 2, 3, and you know it's a level 4 power level just for how fast it can go off, you need to treat it as such and not be what's the deceitful. That's the word I'm looking for. About the intentions of your deck. You need to go ahead and get that out there and be like, look, on the power scale, it says it's this, but it really is not. It really is this. Don't lie to people. Don't gaslight them and say, oh, I swear it's this. No, don't do that. That's not going to get you invited back to play with anybody, and they're not going to like playing with you if they see you again. So, but as I said, it's not perfect, but it's a start. My big thing with, as I said, with the Game Changers, there's certain cards that need to go on the list that aren't there currently. There's some cards on there that I don't really think they belong on the list. Like, I don't think Force of Will actually belongs in the blue section of that list. Force of Will it's a hard counter spell, but it's also disadvantageous to actually counter with it because you have to lose a blue card in order to cast it for free. Or you have to pay 5 mana, which is like big whoop. There's other 5 mana counters in the format that they're not landing on this list. But you know, it's going to be a complete judgment thing. That's the problem, is it's going to be very judgmental on them going, okay, well, we think it's this. And then everybody's going to say, well, we think it should be this. There's going to have to be kind of a middle ground. They want feedback on the list. They want, you know, people's thoughts on the brackets. As for the brackets themselves, I have a problem with there's not enough differentiation between brackets 1 and 2 and brackets 4 and 5. They're like the third bracket's great. It has, it's almost perfect the way it is because it's like, okay, you have 3 cards in it from the Game Changers list, and you're not allowed to blow up people's lands with like Armageddons and Obliterates and all that kind of stuff. And limit your combos past like turn 7. Okay, great, perfect. Whatever. That's easy enough to do. But the other ones is like basically, okay, you're not allowed to have any Game Changers on the 1 and 2 level. Great, they're the same. Can't blow up others' lands. Well, they're the same. Limited tutoring. Well, they're the same. The only difference between level 1 and level 2 is you can have a single extra turn spell thrown into the deck. So it doesn't have enough of a differentiation in there to make it, that kind of thing. I almost think that they should change it where like the exhibition level is no Game Changers. Then on like the core setup, you can have a single Game Changer in your deck. Then level 3 in the upgraded realm, you can have the 3 Game Changers like they have now. And then I think when you get into like the higher power EDH, I think they still need to leave a limitation in there on the Game Changers. I think they need to just make it so there's like it's doubled. That goes to 6 Game Changers. Because honestly, looking at that list of cards that they have there, almost nobody's going to play more than 6 of those cards unless they're in CDH anyways, because a lot of them just don't go together. That's the thing. Like the blue part, yeah, you could probably play a lot of those cards together, but outside of that, it's not really like something I want to run all these cards in a single list together. It's just going to mess the power balance up. Mana costs are going to be kind of funky. There's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to run all of the blue ones together in one deck and all of the black ones together or whatever. So honestly, I think they need to make the tier 4 optimized and the CEDH stuff be a little more disparate from each other so that there's a reason why, because then you're going to get into the situation where you're going to have players going, well, that's a CEDH deck. And it's like, no, it's not, but it kind of is based off of the definition of the way the brackets work. So there's a lot of room for fudging here, and I'm not sold on it 100% yet. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, and while you're down there, please like, share, comment, subscribe. All those things help the channel grow. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.